Hey guys, I'm back again with a brand new video for you all, and this time I've brought you top teams that we can use for the Fantasy Cup, as Fantasy Cup is starting from tomorrow, and this is going to be Steel, Dragon, and Fairy Cup. The Fairy metas are going to be Tapu Fini, Azumarill, Slarpoff. The Dragon metas are going to be Giratinas, Turtonators, and Flygons. The steel metas are going to be Registeels, Lucarios, Escav, or even A-Slash, and there are others. Now, before we start the video, I want to request everybody, if you like the channel contents and if you have not yet subscribed the channel, then please do subscribe the channel. Thanks a lot. So without any further ado, let's start the video. The first team is going to be Registeel, Azumarill, and Tapu Fini. Steel, double Fairy, double Water, Registeel, double Water. Yeah, pretty balanced team. If you look at the core here, Steel and Water Fairies. Registeel is going to be weak against those counter users, and the counter users are going to be the Steels, that is Lucario and Escavalier, and weak against those. Registeel is weak against those, and also weak against those Flygons. Because Flygon being the ground, Registeel being the steel, and also gonna be weak against Turtonator because it's fire. That incinerates is gonna do a lot. That is why, to cover all those, we got ABB, double Water Fairies at the back, resisting counter moves, and also can beat those Turtonators and also Flygon. And yeah, this is a pretty balanced, cool team, ABB, and I'm definitely sure this team is going to give you results, good results. I'm like sure about that. Moving on to another team. Team number 2 is going to be again another ABB, Azumarill and double steel. That is going to be Azumarill, Skarmory, and Lucario. Alright, so let me be straight here. Magnezone. There's going to be Magnezones in this cup. And you got a flyer and a water in this team, but you've also got a counter user. There is Lucario, and the fighter who can beat a Magnezone, and it's gonna be ABA weak to those Magnezones, right? So if you find Magnezone in the lead with your Azumarill, then you just stay soft lose that some chip, and then you can come in with your Lucario. Or what you can do is run ABA Steel, that is Lucario in the lead, and Azumarill and Skarmory at the back. So that is what you can do here. And also, there are gonna be fairies that use grass moves, like Slarpoff. It's got Energy Ball, which is gonna be a little bit of trouble, not that big of a trouble, but a little bit of a problem for Azumarill, and where Skarmory can handle that pretty well. And yeah, this team is pretty very balanced team. Now, if you talk about Turtonators, Flygons. Alright, Turtonator beats both our backline, right? Skarmory and Lucario, you got Azumarill for that. And Flygon. Flygon and Lucario is going to be a little tricky, but Skarmory and Azumarill is going to be cool against those Flygons. And there are going to be a lot of Ferrothorns as well. Well, it may not be in the top 20 ranking in the PV Poke that you see, but there are going to be Ferrothorns, there are going to be Lone Sandslash, there are going to be Escavaliers. I'm sure about that. And another thing this team is weak against is the core breaker is going to be Dedenne. Dedenne can beat this entire team, but you've got those hard-hitting moves from Lucario as well. You can land them, and that comes with a lot of damage. Dedenne is a squishy Pokemon, so that is why I came up with this team. And yeah, so let's move on to another team. It's going to be team number 3. Slarpoff and double Dragon, that is Flygon and Turtonator at the back with Slarpoff in the lead. Now, the move pool of Slarpoff, it's got both Charm and Fairy Wind, and it's also got that grass move coverage, that is Energy Ball. And yeah, which can come in handy against Azumarill, because both our backline is going to be weak against those Azumarills or Tapu Finis. And yeah, this is kind of ABB for those. And if you look at there are going to be Shadow Dragonites as well in this cup, so those are going to be a little bit of a problem for our backline, and Slarpoff can handle that. And yeah, this is pretty interesting team, and there are going to be a lot of steals. Like, for example, Slarpoff is going to be weak against Empoleon, right? But even though we have dragons in this team, Incinerate is going to do damage against Empoleon, and Empoleon's Hydro Cannon is not super effective, even though Turtonator is like fire or Flygon is ground. So we can handle, and plus Flygon's got that ground hard hitting move against steel typing of Empoleon, and yeah, this is a pretty interesting team, and yeah, you can use this. It's a very good team. Moving on to another team, it's going to be team number 4, Ferrothorn, Mawile, and Turtonator. It can be called like Steel Double Fire or Grass Double Fire. Even though Mawile is not fire type, it's got that fire fast move. Yeah, so yeah, Ferrothorn is gonna like core break a lot of teams, right? There are gonna be a lot of Empoleons, Tapu Finis, and even Azumarill Empoleon, Tapu Finis, and there are gonna be like a lot of Slurpuffs, those things, and it's also Steel in Ferrothorn. And Ferrothorn is going to be weak against those Lucarios, Escavs, and those things. And we got double fire users at the back, so we can take care of that. This is ABB for those scenarios. And also, let's take example fighters. As I said earlier, fighters are gonna be steel. Like counter users are gonna be steel. That is Lucario, Escav. So our backline can handle that. And if you talk about Empoleon, we can handle that also with this team. Ferrothorn can handle that. If we missed with Ferrothorn, if Empoleon missed with Ferrothorn, then you've got Turtonator and Mawile with some little bit of teamwork. You can win against Empoleon as well with this team. And this is a pretty like unique team as well. And moving on to another team, it's going to be team number 5, and Double Water, Double Steel. So Tapu Fini and Double Steel. Again, if you look at it, again, the previous team that we talked about, which was weak against Magnezons, this is also weak against Magnezons, but we've got the counter user Escav. It is a very similar team to that. It's also ABA, and you can also use it at ABB with Escav in the lead and Double Water at the back. You can do it either ways. Now, if you look at the counter users, so Empoleon is going to be weak against those, right? So that is why we got Tapu Fini there, and this is a pretty interesting core. And also we got Escav to neutralize a lot of scenarios there. And Escav and Tapu Fini, if we talk about that core, then Escav is going to be weak against those Turtonators, and we got Tapu Fini for that as well. So this is, yeah, that is why I came up with this team. All these 3 Pokemon handles its weakness pretty well. And Tapu Fini may not be like able to beat those Skarmories. It's not a clear victory, right? Both for Skarmory and Tapu Fini. It depends on the energy, it depends on the scenarios. So we got Escavalier and Empoleon, and teamwork can do the rest of the thing there. And yeah, all in all, this is a pretty interesting lineup. Let's move on to team number 6. Team number 6 is going to be Giratina, Haxorus, and Magnezon. So this is a really interesting team. I was checking out for the teams of Fantasy Cup, and I came up with like Magnezon and Giratina core. If you look at it, Magnezon is weak against those counter users, right? Giratina being Ghost is strong against those, and it resists the counters. So this is a very interesting core. Like Lucario and Escav, Giratina can do good against those if you watch out for the hard-hitting moves. And if you run Giratina in the lead, then you try your best to win the switch or win the lead there, and then RPS the backline. That is going to be Haxorus and Magnezon. And now Haxorus and Magnezon is another interesting core. We got 2 dragons here, right? So Magnezon is going to be weak against Turtonators, and Haxorus being dragon resists those fire type moves and doing neutral damage with its counters, and it's also got Surf and Breaking Swipe. So yeah, Haxorus and Magnezon is also pretty good, interesting core here. And all of this team is a very good team. And if you talk about Fairies in the lead with your Giratina Origin against the Fairies like Tapu Fini and Azumarill, then they've got to land the charge move, right? you're resisting the bubbles and the water guns. The thing that is going to be hard is going to be other fairies like Slurpuff and the Charm User. As long as it's not a Charm User, this team is going to be cool. If it's a Charm User or other strong fairies, then it's going to core break your team, both Hexorus and Giratina. So yeah, again, every team has got its own weakness, right? Like always. But you also got Magnezone as a steal against those fairies, and Shadow Magnezone just hits hard, and you're gonna need a lot of teamwork for that. And yeah, this team can prove to be really good. But again, I'm like I need to test out these teams. So as of where I'm living, Fantasy Cup will start from tomorrow. So I brought you these teams today, and yeah, these. But previously there was Fantasy Cup, like I don't think in previous cup, but previous season, but previous season, and I have run like 5 or 6 of these teams, and those were pretty good. And moving on to another team, it's gonna be team number 7, Flygon, Skarmory, and Weezing. Now, if you talk about this team, so Flygon itself is going to be strong against strong, and it depends really on the movesets and like energies and scenarios against the Weezing, right? Glaring Weezing is also poison, being fairy. So Flygon is also ground, being the dragon. So yeah, if a lot of Weezings may be running Overheat and Sludge, or Brutal Swing. Also, it's got Brutal Swing and that Sludge and Overheat and Play Rough, right? So if it doesn't have Play Rough as the charge move, then it's gonna be hard against Flygon. So that's why we got Skarmory and Flygon itself in this team. And backline is weak against fire users, that's Turtonator. So we got Flygon in this team, and Flygon is weak against those fairies. So we got a poison, like you can use Sludge in your Glaring Weezing and to neutralize the situations, or the safe swap. We've got Skarmory. Like if you have Flygon in the lead, and if you safe swap against, if you safe swap your Skarmory, then you're gonna beat out Turtonator if they have the Turtonator, right? So yeah, Glaring Weezing can do pretty well after that. So yeah, this team works pretty well. Moving on to another team, it's gonna be team number 8. Again, Giratina, Empoleon, and Heatran. This time Giratina double steal. So Heatran can be good. Now talking about Heatran, you can also run Turtonator, but I wanted let's run ABB Steel, right? Why not? And both weak against fighting at the back, and we got again the team like that we talked about earlier, Giratina in the lead, and with double weak to fighting at the back. This team can work pretty good. And if you find fairies like Tapu Fini and Azumarill running this team with your Giratina in the lead, if you find them, so you just stay, right? As I told you, they've got to land those Play Roughs and Nature's Madness or Ice Beam from Azumarill. So you can do for the Shadow Ball, Threaten Shield, cheap damage, and then come in with your Empoleon. That is gonna be the gameplay. You don't have hard answer for those guys with this team, but still, except those, it's gonna be pretty safe with this team. And yeah, because it's always gonna be hard if you gotta land those moves to win that game. And in the lead, you've got shields, right? So that's how you play this game. And moving on to another team, it's gonna be team number 9, Tapu Fini and Double Steal. Again, Fairy Double Steal. I think the second team was Fairy Double Steal as well. It was Skarmory and Lucario at the back, and Azumarill in the lead. Now this is a little bit different. Registeel is like weak against, again I told you, weak against those fires, those counter users that will get Tapu Fini there, and with the ground coverage of G-Fisk, it's gonna be like there are gonna be Glaring Weezings, there are gonna be a lot of Turtonators, there are gonna be a lot of other steals, like even Empoleon. And if you use it as finisher, well, it's not gonna be the hard-hitting Pokemon, but still, if you use it as the finisher, it's gonna be good. That is why I came up with this team. because Turtonator is doing a lot of damage with those incinerates against your G-Fisk, right? But you got the Rock Slide and Earthquake, and in the end game it's gonna come handy. That might give you win. That might give you win without shields. So that is why putting G-Fisk in the end game is gonna be really like a crucial, and that's gonna help you, help us. Yeah, moving on to another team. It's gonna be team number 10, A/, Azumarill, and Flygon. This kind of RPS team. Now, running A/, you can run Powder Snow as well as Shadow Claw, both. Now, if you run Powder Snows, then it's only gonna be for those Flygons, right? And the other dragons, if there are gonna be Dragonites. Now, if you run, then let's take example of other dragons. It's gonna be good against Giratinas, those guys. Now, if you run Shadow Claw, there aren't gonna be like normal types or anything that's gonna come like neutral in a lot of scenarios, and that's gonna help us a lot. Now, me personally, I'm gonna run Shadow Claw as a fast move, and yeah, those Ice Punch are gonna come quick anyways. And yeah, this is a pretty interesting team. Now, if you think about the steals like Escav and Lucario, alone Sandslash is gonna be weak against those. That's why we got a Fairy and a Ground type at the back for those steals, and it's gonna be weak against those Turtonator, obviously, and we got Azumarill and Flygon for that at the back. So in this cup, what I think is ABB is going to be the key. ABB. Me personally, I love ABA style more, but this is going to be ABB. A lot of teams are going to run ABB team, and there are going to be a lot of crazy teams. Trust me, there are going to be triple steel, triple water, triple dragon teams. I'm sure of that in this fantasy cup. But yeah, we gotta be ready for that. And yep, those were the 10 teams that I wanted to talk about for this fantasy cup. And yep, I hope you like the content, and if you like the content, then please do leave a like and comment. Thank you so much, guys.